Hello everyone. Today we want to talk about OpenText Captiva. Before we get into the product features, let's take a step back and look at some of the customer challenges related to our customers who use Metasource, BPO, and capture technologies. What are some of the things that they're typically facing when we're looking at a Captiva solution? So to begin, many of our customers are experiencing higher and higher operating costs. A lot of that has to do with paper-based processes that are very inefficient, very costly to operate. There's a lot of manual data entry in these processes. There's also a lot of poor quality coming out of these processes, which requires a substantial amount of rework. In fact, many of our customers can cost justify our solutions just based on the elimination of rework and the improvement in quality. Our customers are also facing a lot of risk. That is, in regulated industries like mortgage, there's substantial risk of being fined or having litigation if things aren't handled properly. And having good quality data is an important component of being able to manage that risk. Also, customers are faced with slow business processes. A lot of the processes that are driven by these paper-based or manual processes are extremely slow. It takes time, which again can cause both a higher cost and a regulatory risk of not being able to hit certain SLAs that are being set. So the solution is, for many of our customers, Captiva. Captiva is a software product which we deliver to our customers on-prem. That is a software that we sell to them. It's also software that we host at Metasource, and it's software that we use internally in our BPO operation. Captiva classifies, extracts, and recognizes paper-based documents. It's a set of technologies which help produce better quality data, and it helps reduce the amount of manual labor associated with doing that work. Captiva includes IDR, or Intelligent Data Recognition. This includes OCR, Optical Character Recognition, that is to be able to recognize a word and convert it into computer text. We can recognize barcodes, various barcodes like the kinds that you might see at your supermarket when you're scanning things on the grocery line, but also advanced barcodes like PDF 417 and 2D barcodes that contain more data elements. Captiva can also recognize handprint. So on handwritten forms, it does a good job of being able to recognize what's been printed on the form. We also support mark sense. It's also known as OMR, optical mark recognition. This is technology that you may have experienced when you're doing standardized testing. Well, mark sense can also be used to see if a customer had checked a box on a paper-based form. There's a variety of automated business rules that we can implement as part of the solution. We're also able to integrate with external data sources through web services and through direct database lookups so that we can validate data before it's released into back-end systems. Captiva transforms documents into electronic images and produces good, high-quality data that can be used to drive workflow processes. And also, we deliver the content, that is the scanned image, into a content repository so it can be used downstream in other business processes. Captiva is capable of capturing hundreds of thousands to millions of documents per day, and we also integrate with various content management systems and business applications. Customers who use this kind of technology can experience significant benefits. They can process more documents with fewer resources, and they can do that much faster instead of just doing data entry from a paper-based form. Captiva delivers superior value and helps speed those processes. It reduces the operating costs by automating the classification of documents. It extracts the data automatically. That is, it lifts the data off of the captured documents, and it delivers that information to back-end systems to help drive those other workflows. Captiva can help reduce or eliminate that manual data entry. It can improve the quality by reducing manual data entry errors and that expensive exception processing that happens so often in many business processes. So there are 5 key components I'd like to talk about just briefly, and then we'll do a demonstration. Captiva converts this information that business processes so desperately need from printed documents, faxes, email messages, even microfilm. It digitizes the image and then flows the image through a set of steps which are designed to create good quality data on the back end of the process. And we do that through advanced capture technologies, which we'll look at. These are multi-channel. We can support the channels I just mentioned, including mobile and external systems, which are directly feeding our systems. We have classification, which classifies the documents. We extract the data from those documents, which have been classified. That extracted data is then validated and then delivered to those back-end systems. Let's take a brief look at each one of these steps. First, on the capture side, Captiva can capture paper, faxes, emails, images, or imported electronic documents through very tight integrations with desktop scanners, faxes. We can also pull network drives, remote sites, email inboxes, and a variety of input sources. In the capture phase, we will typically clean the image up. We'll despeckle it, we'll deskew it. The idea is to improve the image quality, especially if it's coming off maybe a fax machine that isn't well maintained or some other poorer quality device. We want to clean that image up so that we're able to improve the clarity, readability, make it more easily recognized by classification and OCR, and so that the image that's delivered into the back-end system is of the best possible quality. We enhance the images to improve that recognition, and this is also the step where we'll organize multi-page documents into various document sets, which can be routed through different steps in the capture process. The next step is to classify the information that we've captured. It's at this step where we determine document types based on the contents of the document or its graphical characteristics. We'll use, for example, a keyword classification or regular expression syntax to analyze patterns within the document. So if the document contains a certain set of phrases, we'll score that statistically and then assign a document type to it. Once we've doc typed it, we can pass it to the appropriate capture phase or workflow step so that additional processing can take place. In addition to keyword classification and regular expression syntax, we can use image analysis or high precision anchors. These are graphical elements such as logos that are on the document. I explain it to customers this way. If I gave you 500 pages of various documents and we taped those pages on a wall and stepped back about 30 feet and looked back at the wall, you would be able to pick out from that 30 feet distance various documents that belong together. For example, if we had a standard tax form like a W-9, you'd be able to recognize those patterns graphically from that distance, and they could be grouped together. In the same way, Captiva groups these documents together through this image analysis and high precision anchors to route the documents on to further processing. This is a critical capability for digital mailroom and mortgage blob processing in the mortgage space. For example, they have these documents that come in as part of a portfolio transfer, and these are sort of these amorphous multi-page PDFs. Captiva does a very good job of splitting those up and doc typing them using the techniques I just described. In the next step, we extract information, and we do that through a mix of technologies including OCR, optical character recognition. We also can read barcodes. We'll enable key from image data processing, so we can find certain phrases on a document and present it to a keyer, so he or she can then key the information into the system. We can also populate the data from external sources at this step. So for example, if we're doing accounts payable invoice processing and we've extracted a PO number, we could potentially leverage the customer's ERP system to pull in additional data elements that'll help aid in the validation further on down the line. Finally, we'll validate the information prior to releasing it to whatever back-end system is involved, because data hygiene is critical. To eliminate rework and the potential for mistakes, we have to deliver good quality data to those back-end systems and workflows. So validation is meant to maintain data integrity. We use restriction masks. So for example, if it's a PO number, as I mentioned earlier, and it matched a certain pattern, we would restrict the key operator from keying in something other than that expected pattern. We can do this through regular expressions and numeric-only field properties. And as I said, we can validate that information against external databases or custom business rules using scripting events. An example of a business rule might be if we have multiple lines on an invoice that don't add up, we could route that to an operator so he or she could look at that and see if there was a mistake in the invoice that was submitted, or perhaps the OCR recognized a line item and had the incorrect amount. This validation helps prevent mistakes and poor quality data from going into those back-end systems. Finally, Captiva delivers information to a wide range of content management and line of business applications, including enterprise content management systems such as Metastore, OpenText Application Extender. We can also feed standard ERP, BPM, and databases so that the customers can get that good quality data and start to drive other workflow processes. Captiva also supports PDF conversion. It will perform full text OCR, so if we want to submit those PDFs with a text layer, they can be full text indexed, so that can aid in legal discovery, e-discovery, other things that need to happen using full text. We also support PDF compression so that we can deliver good quality images at a high rate of performance on the internet in applications where the documents are consumed by the general public. A great example would be county clerk, recorder of deeds, if they're scanning images for presentation via the web to their constituency. We can optimize those PDFs so they perform well over the internet. That concludes the presentation. I wanted to set things up a little bit before we jumped into a demo. I hope you found this useful.